Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's match reaction. It was the game against Nottingham Forest at Emirates. I think our second home game in this campaign, game week 4. Impressive game of football. Today I have Jamie on the show, and I have Kelly as well on the show. Kelly, I can see you're driving. I wasn't sure if you watched the game of football that we displayed today. It was a beautiful game of football. This reminded me of Arsenal 2 years ago, 3 years ago, free flowing. But I wanted to know your initial thoughts. I can see you're driving, like I said, so that I'll let you go real quickly. What did you think about the game?
Man, it was a wonderful game. I caught the first half, and obviously I was seeing everybody's comments. I was watching it a little bit at the barber shop, but it was a good, like you said earlier on, it was a very great game. Two people I want to give kudos, actually three. Tony was the best player on that field today.
Absolutely.
Eze too was very impressive. The injuries that we get every game is getting ridiculous. So I don't know what's going on with the medical staff, but it's getting ridiculous. But the good thing about this, we have depth. We have depth. So I didn't really catch the full game, but I'm just going to speak on what I've seen. I just going to give kudos to those three players, and I was so happy for Jokeris today for the goal he scored, assisted by Eze, and I'm very happy. If you can keep this going, there's a big chance we can win the league. So that's my short opinion.
Thank you, TP. For me, no lies told at all, man. I couldn't believe what I was watching today. It was though the guys, had some reflections after the game against Liverpool, and they couldn't, wait to get back on the pitch to right their wrongs. Jamie, your initial thoughts on the game? What were your observations? What did you think about the game holistically? Because obviously, in the preview, we weren't sure how Nottingham was gonna pose a threat. We were wondering if they were gonna come attacking, high line, or if there was gonna be some sort of manager bounce under Big Ange. But it looked like they couldn't even do anything, even if they tried. Maybe because they don't have the quality of players in comparison to what he had in Spurs. But generally speaking, it was an open game. It was a beautiful game of football. That would be my, assessment. But what was your assessment of the game?
Yeah, thank you, Diego, for having me today. Yeah, it was a beautiful game of football today. I enjoyed every bit. Every Arsenal player on that pitch played their part, and we had the 12th man as well. The fans, they were fantastic on the day. And yeah, we talked about Nottingham Forest and Big Ange, his tactics, playing the high line and stuff like that. I mean, the big the new manager bounce wasn't. It's a myth. If you ask me, it's a myth. It's just a mentality thing, and we weren't going for it on the day. In terms of Nottingham Forest not having quality players, they do have quality players. They do know how to play in the EPL. It wasn't their day today. It was Arsenal's day because um, we pressed like we normally would press, and like you said, this reminded me of Arsenal 2 years ago, when we brought in that flair, everybody was on their game, we can. I think I should give every Arsenal player on the pitch today a 9. Even Martinelli that came in, everybody put in a shift,
You have to add him in the
Yeah, I had to sneak him in, right? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah,
way. You have to put in the bloke.
everybody today, and shout out to Martin Zubimendi. I mean, you know what? We should stop talking about the players and start talking about Andre Better and what he has done for this football club. I think he deserves a statue outside of the Emirates at this point because my goodness, Martin Zubimendi, Noni Madueke. I mean, I know a lot of fans, especially Arsenal fans, need to apologize to Noni Madueke because they weren't familiar with his game. That young lad has got game. And I personally called a friend of mine halfway into the game. I say, hey man, can I personally add, $20 million to Chelsea's cover, for Noni Madueke? Because man, that boy was fantastic on the day. Yeah, it was a great outing, great result. One goal away from my match predictions coming into fruition. I blame Trossard for that, though. But yeah, overall, it was a fantastic performance.
So you see what you said about Noni Madueke. About 2 years ago, I remember us playing Chelsea.
Right.
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if it was at the Emirates or Stamford Bridge where we scored like 5 goals, and Noni Madueke was the only guy that scored the only goal. That was when I knew that guy was a gem. So I think, speaking on behalf of most of the fans that weren't really excited about the signing, I would say we had concerns on the left, and it looked like we were not focusing on that part before Eze even came through anyway. And it looked like we were spending so much money on Noni Madueke and hoping, knowing what we know about Arsenal, we don't spend that kind of money for a backup. So people weren't sure of what the plan were. But this window has shown so much, just giving credit to Beta, like you said earlier, has shown how audacious Arsenal can be. This is the first time I've really seen them properly act like a big club that they are. Got so much loopholes. In every position, you can count 3 players that can slot in very easily. And that is what we wanted. Odegaard went down today and the level didn't drop a bit at
Right.
all. A bit.
Right.
Noni Madueke steps in for Saka, and people are wondering, how can he deputize so well? I couldn't count any mistake today in his game. He kept pressing, and it looked like the more he pressed, the more he beat his man. Something Martinelli doesn't really know anything about these days. So sorry I put that in there.
You had to go in on it.
You see, and then Eze on the left beating his man. It made football look so enjoyable and so simple. So kudos to them. TP, did you have any other thoughts before we let you go? I know that you're on the highway, so we don't want to keep you waiting too much.
I don't have much. I'm just really impressed with the boys today. I think now Saka can rest. We don't have to rush him back from injury. On a
Much
normal day,
needed.
Saka will be playing this game. Think about it. They'll force him back. So Tony has stepped up, and I'm really impressed. So I was happy today overall, but I didn't catch the full 90 minutes, so I can't really give my assessment on it. Really.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's just taking from what you just said. Naturally, we want to force our players back on the pitch. Did you notice
That's right.
that Saliba trained yesterday, but he didn't even make it to the squad because we had big trust on Mosquera, and oh my God,
Mosquera
that
did well.
boy
Very
is
well. Very well.
Yo.
he is a tremendous
Yo.
football player, So generally, there's nothing. There's really, in fact, Merino stepped in on that number 8, and we didn't miss Rice too much. Like it was just wonderful to see. And then you know what is crazy the most? The people that will call and beg to start our games last season, 2 seasons ago, 3 years ago, came in as bench players, and they were able to put in their quota, and everything looked very smooth. Now you're able to rotate players. Now you're able to manage players, and maybe that way we minimize our injuries. But Jamie, unfortunately, our captain went down, obviously for similar injuries. I do not understand what's wrong with us at the Emirates. He played two games for his country in Norway, and obviously he looked a bit sharp. He looked really sharp. He looked really good. Coming back first half, he goes down again on the same shoulder. What do you think is the recurrent issue with our players and injuries?
Yeah, that's a good one. Basically, I don't think what's his name, Matt Nodegaard should have been a part of that Liverpool game. If you ask, we should have. If he didn't play that Liverpool game, there wouldn't have been cause for Norway, to invite him over to play those 2 international games. But having him play that Liverpool game gave a signal to his national side that, hey, okay, he's good enough to play. So
Yeah.
he should play the 2 international games. If he had rested for 2 weeks, that shoulder probably might have healed properly. But he re-injured that shoulder, and I see him coming into the next game. Like I see him kind of like playing through this injury, just like Jude Bellingham did last season for Real Madrid. And after the season, after the Club World Cup, he now went in for that shoulder surgery, and
Yeah.
he's been out for 2 months now.
Right.
So I don't see Arsenal granting Martin Odegaard that surgery request for him to be out for 2 months. We need him this season, but it's still early on in the season, and we have players that can cover up for him. So if this situation requires surgery, I still think we should go in for it right away. Because we're not even halfway into the season. But if he can play, if he can give us 100% and play with pain relievers, I still think he's good to go. We all saw what happened to Jude Bellingham last season in the La Liga. He wasn't 100%. He couldn't deliver. He wasn't the
You
Jude
go for certain type
Bellingham exactly. So I don't want that to be the case of Nodegaard. If that shoulder requires surgery, it's still early in the season. I still believe Arsenal should sign off on it. If not, just give him like 3 weeks rest. I understand we have a Champions League 4 in a couple of days, and we also have the Man City game. Let him rest. That's
So you kind of took that just away from my mouth. I was going to ask you if after the press conference today and we hear that it doesn't look too bad, maybe just a low sprain, we'll just start him on Wednesday. But I think you've answered that. Most likely next weekend we'll need him against Man City. That's going to be another test. Even though I do not worry these days about, I think the only team that really put me on the edge would be our game in Anfield, and some of our away games. Like our next game after City would be, is it home against Castle? So those are some of the tricky
Yeah,
games.
Newcastle
Some of the
playing home against
we
Newcastle.
have, but yeah, it looks like Saliba would be available next week. It looks like Saka is probably going to be available next weekend. So we'll probably, from what you're saying, I'm thinking maybe leave them off this coming week for the from Atletico Bilbao are not really a team to be worried about. We beat them obviously in the friendly before the season started.
They're playing good in La Liga this season already, so you can't count them out. I mean,
No,
they are in the Champions League for a reason, so you need to show respect, so much respect to your opponents. We can't just say, it's Atletico Bilbao. No, they can hurt you in the Champions League, and we need to be prepared for the game. Arsenal, the way we are built right now, the players that we have, the quality that we have, we are not depending on the likes of Odegaard to win games at this point. Ethan Waneri can get the job done. We saw him today. He was a bit rusty when he came on, but after about a couple of minutes, he integrated himself, into the game, and we have players. We have Merino that can even play that role, coming off of a hat trick in the international break. He has that momentum still. He can play, and he has played against Atletico Bilbao so many times in his career, so he knows how to play that game. So why risk Martin Odegaard? I can understand playing Martin Odegaard against Manchester City in the weekend, a week from tomorrow, but playing him on Wednesday after coming off again with the same injury that he had, I don't think it will be diabolical to do that. So
right. I mean, so what I was trying to say is we have the players that can do a job even without our amen, even without our Saka start, even without another guy starting. The guys that started today or the guys that played today for the majority part of the game can do a job
right.
against Atletico Bilbao. So it's not something I'm even worried about. But it's a feel good factor to see our team blossom in such a very organic way.
Yeah.
Like I said, the game today was very impressive, and long may it continue. Anyway, we have other games that we wanted to go watch. So I wanted to know your final thoughts on the game today.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the hate watch,
What
for
game? What game are
for
you?
today and tomorrow. Well, right now I have Fulham Leeds on, and I want my Niger boys to go all the way this season, so I'm rooting for Fulham. But after this game, we
Yeah,
have I think we have two big games. We have Chelsea,
Chelsea around.
Chelsea playing. So yeah, those are gonna be good games to watch. And tomorrow the Manchester derby. I
Mhm.
mean, I can't believe I want to say this, but I'll be rooting for Manchester United. Oh man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah.
We want to keep Amorim as long as possible.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I mean, yeah, we want to keep him as well. So the game tomorrow, I wish Man U the best of luck. I don't want City near anywhere, this title race this season, because I mean, as long as they have Guardiola and they have Erling Haaland, they're still a threat, no matter what
Right,
anybody says. Yeah, so
right,
we need to dismantle them on time. If that happens, maybe tomorrow, then that would be a good step forward. Yeah,
right.
and the game today, I mean, big up Mosquera. Phew, man, I can't believe we paid 50 million for that guy. I can't believe it. And for once,
30 million pounds.
man, I've been scared. Real Madrid coming to Nick William Saliba. Is he gonna sign the new contract? Man, if he doesn't sign that fucking contract, no problem.
Hmm.
No problem.
He's
I
gonna
don't
sign.
care if he signs or not. At this point, after watching Mosquera these past two games, if he wants to sign, fine. If he doesn't want to sign, if he want to live on the free 2026, no problem.
I think it's a bit too early for us to get carried away with Mosquera, even though I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's a fantastic young under 21 player who captained his side against, I can't remember the team, but he played under 21 and he was the captain of the game.
Yeah,
So kudos to him. There are a few players I want to give special shout out to. You see Calafiori, Eze, standing ovation. He made that left wing forward look like what I know football is about.
agreed.
Noni
Agreed.
Madueke, my man of the match. And then, of course, the actual man of the match, Matthew Zubimendi, who, by the way, scored his first ever brace in his career. You know, he did that at Arsenal. I don't
He
think.
scored 17% of his goals today.
I'm telling you. So it is crazy, but it is a testament of the work that the Kroenkes have done this season, a testament of the work that Beta has done, and of course, by extension, Ateta. Ateta has no excuse. We genuinely want him to succeed, but I think it's about time. I think, obviously, with the money, with the backing, it just makes us understand that it is time right now to actually go for it. It is that time of the season for us to keep picking points. We have tough fixtures. EPL is not a small league, but we know that we have what it takes to
Right.
surmount these obstacles. Thank you, Jamie, for joining today.
Thank you for having
While
me.
we're looking forward to the next game on Wednesday against Atletico Bilbao, we're hoping and buzzing that that game will be an outrageous game of football where we play our game and we succeed at it. So everybody, thank you for watching. Please like, please share and subscribe. Keep supporting and showing us love at the Global Gooners Podcast. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Let's get back to the game that is showing right now.